Hello and welcome to day 26. By now, you will have seen that what I claimed earlier in the course is true. This is the real shadow work. This is really what Jung was describing as the process of individuation, of taking the unconscious and making our blind spots conscious. So from darkness into light, from chaos into order, so that we can see things with greater clarity. I'm sure that you can, those of you who are following the course exactly, can attest to the fact that it's uncomfortable. That is what shadow work should be. And it should feel like bumping into furniture in the night. That's what a blind spot is. If you know what your blind spot is, it's no longer a blind spot. That's called a see spot, not a blind spot. So you're banging into things. When you bang into something that's uncomfortable, it can be an affront to the ego, and it can threaten our sense of who we are, our idealized self-image. That's perfect for shadow work. Affront to the ego, makes you feel a bit disturbed, maybe even brings up like quote unquote negative emotions like anger or fear or rage or irritation. Good. And if it's an affront to the idealized self-image, even better. If we have a chance at real individuation, authentic individuation, it's surely going to be through chipping away at that boundary, at that wall of illusory self-image, which builds up like plaque or enamel on teeth over time, which is our own bullshit about who we are, our own bullshit about who we would like to be, but we're too afraid to be. And so we end up in this neurotic, twitching, cowardly space where we have moments of courage held back by moments of moral cowardice, where the good that we should do, we do not do, because we just don't have what it takes to get there. But we never say that to ourselves. We throw in justifications in order to survive and go on with our days. Hey, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I don't sit here in judgment. I'm not throwing rocks at you. I'm as guilty of this as anybody is. But I think we do need to have a frank and adult conversation about how that plays out. Because as that plays out at the individual level, at the individual human level, the micro level, so it plays out at the collective macro level, across political ideologies, across philosophical ideologies, across whole world views that shape our reality, that mold the reality that we then live in. And let's face it, we seem to be reaching a place where that reality that we are creating is not so pleasant, but it could be pleasant. But we're not going to get there through utopianism. We're not going to get there through ego wanking and just saying, oh, everything is going to be okay. No, it isn't. Not necessarily. If you look at history and you look at, say, like the Bolshevik Revolution, wasn't that long ago? The French Revolution wasn't that long ago. The Spanish Inquisition, which may have come through similar psychological causation. No, things don't just get better by themselves. We don't just get to drift along and go, oh, if I do good things and think good thoughts, everything will be okay. No, that's actually not true. Things can go really dramatically, drastically wrong. But it's not an unsalvageable situation we're in right now, but we must face the truth bravely, and we must start with ourselves. You cannot call out the mote of dust in your brother's eye if you have a plank in your own, to misquote the Bible. So you're going through a process right now yourselves. If you've kept up with it, you're very brave. Well done. I know it's uncomfortable, but the way that you find things is by running into them. So please take today to review from this Jungian perspective, where did I start in terms of my values, my stated directions, my stated goals, my emotional literacy, and where am I just 25, 26 days later? And what's changed? The chance is high that what has changed is you've gone from your idealized self, your bullshit about who you are and who you would like to be, to a much more authentic version of yourself. So there may be values coming through that you never would have said just 3 weeks ago were not your values, but they're your values now, but you only found them through chipping away, wading through the dirt and doing the work. And this is the way it goes. If you look at the symbol for Buddhism is a lotus. And the point of the lotus is it's a flower that grows up through mud. It doesn't get farted out of an angel's bumhole and then lands gently on earth. It grows through the shit and the grime and the mud and then flowers in the sun. There's no way out but through. That is what transcendence means. It doesn't mean I went around or I avoided it or I drifted off into psychobabble or drug addiction or spiritual bypassing. It means you did the work and went through it. Then you can say you've built from the ground up and you have an authentic, individuated self, or at least you have the means to work towards one, because let's face it, nobody's getting that done inside of 30 days. But at least we can look at the tools, we can look at the process and say, okay, this was tough, but not so tough I can't deal with it. It's a push, it's a stretch, but it didn't break me. And you'll keep doing this work with this Jungian mindset of, you know, this is the real shadow work, and the end goal here is authenticity and individuation. It ain't easy, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and your attention, and I look forward to speaking to you again tomorrow. Cheers.